Hello, welcome back to Evermoor. I am going to be building some more underwater as usual because this place is never ever finished. But before I get into building the new thing, I'm going to show you some of the things I did do off camera, just some little detailing here and there, and I like to try to show as much as I can. Even if it's stuff that I did off camera, I like to show it to you. So I'm going to swim around a bit and show you some of the small additions and decor I have added. I'm right across from the jellyfish forest, which is over there in the distance, and this is where I'm going to be building for this episode, however long it takes for this episode to be finished and out. But let me swim around here and show you some of the little things I've added in some of these areas. I've tried to add a few more coral gardens to get some color throughout here, so I've got some yellow coral up along those buildings, and then I've got this blue, purple, and red coral here, and it looks like we've got some weird waterlogging issues. I don't recall this being here when I placed this, but it could have been placed when I had shaders on and I just couldn't see it. Well, that seemed to fix it. And then going into the opposite section, I see some little things I want to fix over here. This wall is kind of ugly and boring. We'll have to clean it up at some point. Swimming through here, I've added some extra trident lamps into this area and some extra gardens. This one is just kelp and seagrass. It's nothing special, but it is still a central little garden there. And I added a little garden over there inside that square. Some more trident lights right there on either side of that building, and a red coral garden there and there. Again, I'm just adding touches of color in different places and more plant life to make it look more lively. I think I also added some extra plants in this corner. Oh yes, and I changed this from just a plain stone wall to a teal gradient, similar to the wall that we have over by the theater. Little improvements like that I think really help clean up the space, and there's still much to be done in the back part of this section. I think it's kind of empty, and I would like to add more there eventually, but right now I was just going through and adding a few gardens here and there and some color. Over here in front of the portal, when you first exit, I added this large coral garden. At first I wasn't sure if I was going to like the location of it because it's kind of right in the way of this, but I think it is nice. It does add a little bit of color. And I also added these leaves in swirling patterns just because I thought it would be interesting. So I wasn't just doing coral gardens everywhere. And I knew I didn't want to fill this with anything that would stack too high just because I like the view of the building without too much interfering with it. And this seagrass should not be in the path, but that's it for the improvements thus far with some of the gardening. It doesn't look like much, but it did take me a few hours to get all of that put together. And I think little things like that, the more I add them, the better this city will look overall. Of course, I am going to be adding some large organics too, larger creatures, if you will, around, but I'm kind of waiting until I get more of the buildings finished before adding those. But anyway, now on to the project for this episode. And that project is something that I hadn't really planned ahead of time. I had a basic idea in my head, but overall, the theme is sea turtles. They need a place to live in the city, and there are currently no sea turtles around. They're one of the few sea creatures I probably don't have in the city. Aside from tropical fish, I don't really have those yet either. But for now, it's the sea turtles. I only had a rough idea of how this building was gonna go, and it's just a dome on top of a dome, which is an easy build to freehand. So that's what I did. You'll also notice as I progress through this build how it takes on certain attributes. Green glass and protruding entrances at various points around the outer circle. Maybe, just maybe, I'm trying to make it resemble some kind of creature. Nah, that's ridiculous. sea turtles are also getting their own private island, complete with a couple of miniature palm trees. I think it turned out adorable, although the sea turtles don't really come up here except to lay their eggs. But that's alright, it's here if they ever want it. And here is our finished sea turtle house. Again, can't put my finger on what this is supposed to look like, but I think it turned out very nice. I did hatch a few more sea turtles. I have maybe 9 or 10 in there, I'm not exactly sure. And they're just happily swimming around. I do have a double door entrance just as a precaution, although I'm pretty sure they would not be able to fit through here, but you know, it's just a precaution. And look at them, they're so cute. Happily swimming around. They love swimming through this little cave I made for them. I have a lot of glow lichen in here. It looks really pretty with shaders on. And yep, that is the sea turtle house. Looks like one is almost going up on the island. I've never seen them come up here, but maybe? Maybe not. They do have a little bit of trouble pathfinding up to here because it's a very narrow space they have to get through. At least they were having problems when I was trying to get them to lay eggs up here. But it is possible. I've seen them do it. I am pleased with how it turned out. I do like these coral gardens in the front to add a little bit of color. I didn't really do very much decorating around the sides or in the back because it is basically the edge of the city. At least there's an island directly behind it. So if I did want to build something back there, I'd have to destroy that, and I don't think I'm going to. At least not at this time. This project only took me 2 live streams to do. Well, technically 3 because I had to split it up, but it didn't take me that long at all. Maybe a few hours. Probably the longest part is honestly getting the resources for it, but the building process was pretty easy. I always think I look ridiculous with the armor like this when I talk to you. That's why I always take off these 2 pieces. It just looks much better. You can actually see me. And I don't have a mod to make my armor invisible. I know that's an option, but I don't have it because I don't want it necessarily. But anyway, the other thing that I need to tell you about in this episode is we did finally update to 1.20 after it's been out for 2 months. We are always a little bit late, but it's all good because look what I found. I got myself some cherry blossoms and I put them in a chest for everyone to grab. And I got a lot of flowers and I love these leaves, how they've dropped the petals onto you. I don't know how far these particles extend. That would be a good thing to experiment with. So yes, I love the cherry blossom trees, but that's not the only thing I found. I went exploring and found all kinds of things, including, where is it? Where's my, oh yeah, this thing. Including a sniffer egg. I'm excited about the sniffer egg, and I don't know where I'm going to put it yet. Now we just need 1 more egg to be able to breed them, I believe. Anyway, I need to figure out a good place to put the sniffer. I was thinking about putting it somewhere on the community island because it's so rare. At least until we get the ability to breed them. But anyway, for now, I'm going to hold on to it. I also found a bunch of pottery sherds. These things are so interesting. I was looking up how to do all this stuff after I discovered it all. And I also found a couple sets of trim. Sentry trim and coast armor trim. I don't know if I'm going to use those just yet, but But it was really fun exploring and learning about 1.20 because I honestly knew nothing about it. I knew nothing about it, Mushroom. I knew nothing about it. And that, I believe, gets you up to speed at where I am on Evermoor. We've completed a new build. We've done some exploring. Most of that was done off camera, but yes, we did do some exploring. Found a sniffer egg. We'll have to find a good spot to put that sniffer egg. That's just another project I'm gonna have to consider. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed this episode, and I'm looking forward to seeing you in another one someday. Bye!